It was a quiet Friday night, one of those evenings when the world seemed to slow down after a long week. The house was calm, and I felt the familiar weight of exhaustion from work begin to lift as I walked through the door. The smell of dinner hit me first. Roasted chicken, garlic, and rosemary filling the house with warmth. It was the kind of evening that should have felt comforting. Rachel, my wife, was in the kitchen moving about as she always did. A familiar routine that should have reassured me. But something felt different. Something had been different for a while now. Before we dive in, please subscribe. It means the world to us and helps us bring you more amazing stories. We had 2 kids, Lily, who was 8, and Jake, 5. They were our world. And while Rachel and I had always shared everything, something had shifted between us over the past few years. We were no longer the couple who stayed up late talking about our dreams and plans. We were just parents living side by side doing what we needed to get by. I thought it was just the strain of life that we would eventually find our way back to each other. But that night, I felt a change in the air. Rachel was quieter than usual, her eyes constantly shifting, not meeting mine. There was something behind her gaze, something I couldn't put my finger on. We sat down to eat, and for the first few minutes, we ate in silence. I glanced at her, watching her push her food around on her plate, a habit she had when something was bothering her. I had learned not to ask what was wrong, hoping she would bring it up when she was ready. But tonight, she didn't seem like herself at all. Finally, she looked at me, her eyes filled with hesitation. "Can we talk about something?" she asked, her voice trembling just slightly. I set my fork down, sensing the shift in her tone. This wasn't a casual conversation. Something was off. "Of course," I replied, trying to keep my voice calm, though I was already dreading what was coming. Rachel's hands fidgeted with her napkin as she gathered her thoughts. She looked at me with a vulnerability I hadn't seen in years, and my heart skipped a beat. "I've been thinking about us," she said, her voice low. "About our marriage, about where we are." I nodded, trying to keep my composure, though a sinking feeling spread through me. I had felt it, too. The distance that had crept in over time, but I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to admit that something was wrong. "I think we need to try something different," Rachel continued. "I think we should go to a swinger club." The words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I couldn't process them. I blinked, trying to make sense of what she had just said. "Wait, what?" I asked, my voice coming out in a stunned whisper. "You want us to go to a swingers club?" Rachel looked down at her lap, her face flushing with embarrassment, but she didn't look away. "I know it sounds crazy, but I think it could help us. We've been in a rut for so long, and I thought maybe this would bring us closer, make things exciting again." I felt the room spin. My pulse quickened as I stared at her, trying to make sense of the situation. "You're asking me to go to a swingers club?" I repeated, disbelief lacing my words. "Rachel, that's not something I ever thought you'd suggest. Why? What made you think that would fix things?" She lowered her gaze, tears welling up in her eyes. "I've been feeling so disconnected from you. We're both busy with the kids, with work, and I thought maybe this would help us find the spark again. I didn't want to tell you, but I went a few months ago. I went alone. The floor seemed to fall out from beneath me. Couldn't breathe. My heart thudded painfully in my chest." "You went?" I asked, the words barely escaping my mouth. "You went behind my back to a swingers club and now you're asking me to join you." Rachel's face crumpled as she tried to speak through her sobs. "I thought it would help. I thought maybe it would make me feel something. Make me feel connected to you again. But it didn't work. It just made everything worse. And now I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix us." The air between us grew thick with the weight of her words. My mind was spinning. The woman I had trusted, the woman I had built a life with, had gone to a club without me, seeking something with other people that I thought we had shared. It was a betrayal that cut deeper than anything I had ever imagined. My chest tightened, the realization that our marriage was no longer what I thought it was seeping into my bones. I stood up from the table, unable to sit any longer. My legs felt like they might give out from underneath me. Rachel, you don't understand. I can't do this. I can't pretend like it's okay. You went behind my back and now you want me to join you in something that feels like a complete violation of everything we've built. She stood too, her face twisted with regret. I never meant to hurt you. I swear. I just didn't know how to fix it. How to make things better. I thought this would help us. But now I see how wrong I was. Couldn't look at her. The anger that surged through me was suffocating. The betrayal wasn't just about the club. It was everything that had led to this moment. The months of emotional distance, the quiet tension at home, the conversations we had avoided. I had known things weren't right. But I hadn't been willing to face it. Now I had no choice. What happened to us, Rachel? I asked, my voice breaking. We used to talk. We used to share everything. How did we get here? I don't know. She whispered, her voice barely audible. I don't know how we got here. But I've been lost for so long. I don't know how to find my way back to you. I shook my head, unable to process the weight of her words. I can't do this. I can't live in a marriage where the trust is gone. You went to that club, Rachel. You made the choice without me, and now you want me to fix it. I don't know how. Rachel reached out to me, her hand trembling. I'm sorry, she said again, her voice choked with tears. I love you. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't know how to ask for help. I can't be here anymore. I said, my voice firm, though my heart was breaking. I can't stay in this. The trust is gone, Rachel. You broke it. You betrayed me. I can't pretend like it's okay. I need to leave. Her face crumbled in disbelief as though she hadn't expected this reaction. Please don't go, she pleaded, her voice desperate. Please, let's fix this. I'll do anything. But I couldn't stay. I couldn't live in a lie anymore. Pretending that everything would be okay when I knew it wouldn't. Rachel had made her choice, and I couldn't ignore the damage it had done. The damage she had done. I walked out of the house that night, my heart heavy with the weight of the decision. The house we had built together no longer felt like home. The woman I had loved no longer felt like the person I knew. And I knew deep down that no amount of therapy, no amount of apologies would ever bring back the trust we had lost. The weeks that followed were the hardest of my life. Rachel begged me to come back. She sent texts, left voicemail messages, and tried to explain how sorry she was, but the pain of her betrayal was too much to ignore. She had chosen someone else, even if it was just for one night, and that choice had broken me. I filed for divorce a month later. I couldn't stay in a marriage where the trust was irreparably damaged. The kids were the hardest part. I loved them more than anything, and the thought of how they would be affected by our separation tore me apart. But I knew that for my own mental and emotional health, I had to walk away. I found a small apartment, and for the first time in years, I felt a sense of freedom. It wasn't the freedom I had wanted, but it was the freedom I needed to heal. I slowly started to rebuild my life, finding solace in the routine of taking care of my children, working, and spending time with friends who reminded me of who I was before all of this. Rachel tried to reach out again, asking for another chance. But the damage was done. The trust had been shattered and no apology could put it back together. She had made a choice and I had to make mine. As I sat in my apartment looking at my kids and feeling the weight of everything that had happened, I realized that sometimes the hardest thing you can do is walk away. But it was also the only thing that would allow me to heal and eventually find peace again. Walking away from Rachel was the hardest decision I ever made, but it was the right one. And in time, I found strength in knowing that I had done what was necessary to move forward.